Welcome back to the Benning Report. The past 6 years, Fort Benning has hosted the Army Expeditionary Warrior Experiment, or AEWE, run by the Maneuver Battle Lab. It's a time when soldiers test new and exciting technologies that may help them downrange. In this edition of Live Fire, our Andruss gets the lowdown on the high-tech inventions.
That's right, Susanna. From robots to camouflage to sensors and communication networks. Each year, the Army Expeditionary Warrior Experiment evaluates emerging technologies to help our troops in combat.
We test emerging technologies that are being fielded to the Army.
Soldiers and engineers descended on McKenna Mount site again this year to test some of industry's latest and greatest technologies.
AEWE is a large testing experiment, millions of dollars are put in which engineers with contract companies for the United States Army will come down here with their technologies. Those technologies will, in conjunction with green suiters from those Maneuver Battle Lab and higher-ups within the Army, and then of course they need personnel on the ground, which is where the X4 comes in, to test these technologies.
The 2-week-long experiment puts over 60 technologies through the rigors of infantry combat missions to see what works and what doesn't.
It's twofold. It's one, to test the equipment so we can better it or use it, make it more applicable to what soldiers can use in combat. The other thing that it does is it tests our force structure right now. Like, do we have the right force structure? Is it okay to have the infantry platoon or infantry company to stay the same?
So they bring it down to us, put it through a structured 14-day test cycle, day missions, night missions, and then at the end of it we give a detailed AAR and report that goes up. Does this piece of technology, is it useful, is it not useful? It was supposed to do A, B, and C. Did it do A, B, and C? And would you recommend it be outfitted for the Army?
AEWE allows the Army to assess and evaluate emerging technologies and learn how our troops can use them to be more effective in combat.
For this year's, we were given 14 missions, so day 1 through day 14 of a structured mission set in which they wanted to put us in a specific situation, testing a certain specific technology to see if it would achieve what it's supposed to achieve. The ultimate goal is to identify a technology and can it hinder or enhance performance of a soldier on the ground.
Figuring out what's working and what doesn't, how do they make it better, how do they better integrate it into what we're doing, and just trying to figure out what can we do with this. Can we use this robot to place a breaching charge? Can we use this robot to act as a stationary sensor as well as being a mobile platform?
The objective is to have an assortment of tools that feed real-time information back to our troops through an easy-to-use network so they can find the enemy and understand the battle space.
Give you better situational awareness of where you're at, where your comrades are at, and potentially where the bad guys are at. You'll be able to either shoot, move, communicate to destroy the enemy, or be able to use your experimental communication devices to be able to call in for reinforcements, call in air assets or whatnot.
What we need help with is identifying the enemy far out. How far away is he? Or locating the enemy within a city, or locating the explosive device that they just put on the road. Our sensors and unmanned ground and aerial sensors, save troops from doing that.
I'd much rather set a sensor out there than have to send a 2-man, outpost out there that could possibly get compromised and killed. Whenever they can compromise a little piece of equipment and nobody gets hurt.
Another important element being evaluated is how all this technology is affecting the soldier and his performance.
The problem that we're looking at out here also is, are we overloading the soldier with the information that we have? In some aspects, when you put it all together, it overloads the soldier. But in a lot of other aspects, it gives the soldier better situational awareness of the battlefield.
To understand if these technologies will work for our troops downrange, it's important that they be tested by combat veterans.
It's very important to have it tested in the hands of soldiers who are just fresh from combat so that we can apply what we learned over there and better enhance the capability of it going out to the force.
These technologies will enhance soldiers' capabilities, which reduce or eliminate the uncertainty of combat and give them a decisive edge against any possible threat.
If you take the technologies individually and apply them to your mission set, it does enhance the soldier's capability on the battlefield.
The knowledge gained at the Army Expeditionary Warrior Experiment is helping to get our troops the best tools available so they can be safer and more lethal on the battlefield.
Well, Ron, they are really rolling out some cool technology. When will it actually reach the hands of the soldiers in combat?
Well, some of the technologies are already fielded, and they're brought back here every year to be improved upon, and the others may be fielded if they prove to be combat effective.